the evil spirit from the Lord that was on Saul's mind, that was oppressing him, that was causing him so much problem, would flee. It would cause that spirit to flee, and he would have his right mind. He would be sane for a period of time whenever he was under the influence of that music.
Hello, everyone. This is the Road Home Podcast.
And today, we're back inside the studios here, and we hope you enjoyed yourself last week and celebrating the 4th of July, Independence Day, all that good stuff. Today, Billy, once again, is not with us, but he will return at some point.
He had some family come down from Indiana and spend some time with him today.
But we have his stand-in here today. So, he looks nothing like Billy, but he'll do for a moment. It's kind of like his cardboard cutout, and he'll just take up the space for a minute. If he wants to say anything, he will. I'm just kidding. Seth, this is Seth, and he's here to stand in for Billy.
This is one of Micah's brothers.
Today, we're going to talk about skills today. Everyone has a unique set of skills. We all have an ability that maybe is unique to us, or maybe it's not unique. Maybe we have, the same abilities as somebody else.
Right.
But we all have skills, abilities, talents, gifts, if you will. And they all are key, and they're all necessary for living.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who know how to do certain things that other people do not know how to do. And because of that, they get paid a lot of money. We are not one of those people. There are some people, though.
That's why we're doing a podcast above our church.
That's why we're doing it here, and it's like cheap.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have abilities.
Mm-hmm.
We have talents. We have giftings. Like, I have a few giftings and talents that maybe some other people don't have, and then Jed has his own giftings and talents, which allows us to do this podcast. And Seth here, he has many giftings and talents with gardening and farming and mechanic. He's a mechanic, and he'll work on anything. He can take apart anything. He can also put it back together, which is a skill that I don't have.
Same here.
So, yeah. He does not have the talking skill. It's all right.
Seth has the talent of getting his point across in as few words as possible.
Yeah, just wait for it. There's something bubbling in his head. We'll have a conversation about something, and all of a sudden Seth will just drop a big line, and it'll be like, well, I should have thought of that. Which means, like, the Bible's true when it says you should be quick to hear and slow to speak. I'm probably more quick to speak than slow to speak, but whatever. But to each his own, right? We all have our different gifts. But let me get a definition quick. And the definition of skill, the ability to do something well. It's a part of your doing, part of your ability, but it's an ability you have and you excel at it. It's something...
It makes you.
It's unique to you. I don't have the ability. I'm not a taxidermist. But if I was a taxidermist, that would be my ability. That would be my skill. I'm not an electrician. But if I had that ability, that would be my skill. Those are not my skills. My skills are I'm music oriented. I have many hours of music practice. My ears are tuned for that. I know how to study out things. I know how to research. I know how to do things like that. And I can build things halfway, and I can do what I'm told to. But if that's a skill.
So a lot of people don't have that skill.
That's true.
A good, if more people had that skill, this world would be a better place.
We'd probably have a really good economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, some people need to pick up this skill besides me. Some people don't know this. I also, for church and for children's church and stuff we do, I'm a puppeteer. And I'm not exactly proud of that fact, but it's a skill I have. Anyhow, that makes us all different. Now, some people may not have certain skills, but it doesn't matter what your skills are, they're unique to you. And there may be a difference between a gift and a skill. And what I mean by that is there's some things like you're just kind of born with a knack for. Like, okay,
If you're gifted in something, you're going to be skilled in it, but just because you're skilled in something don't mean it was gifted to you.
wrap that up in a package and put it on eBay. That makes a complete and total sense. Okay. My gifting, automatically, I have a knack for it. But just because I'm skilled in something doesn't mean that's my gift.
Right.
So, like, okay, I may be able to do puppeteering, but that does not mean it's my gift. That just means I was the only one available several years.
You were voluntold for that
I was
job.
voluntold plenty of times. But also, as a younger person, I was very, for some odd reason, I was kind of geeking out with like puppets and stuff like that. For some odd reason, I don't know if it was like, I just was interested in how they were made and the way they work. And so I kind of got into that. But also with everything you become skilled with, you have to kind of get an education with it.
Right.
So your mind is constantly learning, it's growing. And you're gonna get good at whatever you have a passion for. And that's kind of where I want to go. Your abilities is based upon who you are. You're not just like, okay, I need the skills to do this, I need the skills to do that. You're going to pursue with passion whatever makes you you. That's just the way it is. For me, I've pursued with passion the ability to play music, the ability to know certain random facts for some odd reason. So for Seth here, he has learned, because his passion is like knowing how stuff works. He's like pursued with a passion, the study of tractors and parts and motors and all kinds of stuff. That works too. But we have different talents and abilities, but our passions are different. Like, I am not passionate about sports at all. Sorry, I wish I was, but I'm not. Like, football, it bores me to death. Like, they're throwing this ball around and like it makes no sense to me. But for other people, they can get all tore up about it, and that's just dandy. I'm happy for you. I would rather just, if you're watching a football game, I'd rather eat whatever food you have there than to pay attention to what the ball is doing. I could care less. But if you're talking about history or something, I'm there. I just not our talents and passions, but you become passionate about something, you're going to want to know everything about that. You're going to want to know the details about it. You're going to want, and you will find yourself asking questions that only you can answer. With you finding that you seeking out the means to know what something is. So, like Jed, even with like this podcast and certain things we've done, we didn't know what we were doing to begin with. We still
don't know it all.
We don't know a lot. We have learned a lot.
Right.
And
we've obtained a skill for it.
Right.
We didn't have the gift to just come in and start doing all this technical stuff. We've had to learn it, and then it creates a skill.
And we've gotten somewhat better. We've not stopped. Like, okay, I guarantee you, there'll never be a point where we say, okay, we've learned everything we can learn.
Right.
No, that would be
because there's always someone else learning a new skill that's just going to make it even better.
Right. And so, in order to do that, like we know that we can be better.
Right.
And we're not too prideful to say, oh, I don't need to know anything else than what I know. Like, I already know everything. We're humble enough to say, okay, we need to know some stuff. And if you've done anything for your church, or if you've worked in the church work or whatever, you're going to have some tasks laid in your hands that's going to cause you to say, I don't know how to do that. Somebody's going to ask you to do something, and you're not going to know how to do it, but you're going to end up doing it. Why? Because you're going to find out how to do it by asking the right questions and seeking out the skills. And I've done that multiple times with different things. Not saying we've always succeeded, but we've always asked the questions. And with that, after you kind of conquer a hurdle, you then gain a skill.
Right.
And that's where it comes from. But there's certain people in the scripture that the Bible talks about having skill. And one of those, it was David. And in 1 Samuel chapter 16, King Saul disobeyed God and had a evil spirit from the Lord, the Bible calls it, which we would probably call a mental illness. But it was an evil spirit from the Lord. Now, some people would say this is demon possession. Go debate that. Go look at one of your deliverance ministry pages, whatever they want to say about it. I don't have an opinion other than this is what the Bible says. And it said that they wanted somebody to come. They said, we need a cunning player on the harp. And what that meant was somebody who was skilled to the point that they were a master over this instrument, that they knew what they were supposed to be, knew how to use this instrument, knew how to operate in this instrument. And so they called for, King Saul's men call for David, and somehow he had a reputation for his skill. David had the skills to play the harp, and the Bible tells us that when the harp was played in a skillful way by David, the evil spirit from the Lord that was on Saul's mind, that was oppressing him, that was causing him so much problem, would flee. It would cause that spirit to flee, and he would have his right mind. He would be sane for a period of time whenever he was under the influence of that music. And even in, you can look this up, scientific studies have been done with Alzheimer's patients and certain mental illness situations, disorders, when they've been given music to listen to, and their brain chemistry or whatever changes, and the receptors are open or whatever, however that works, and it does actually change things. The way it helps, it gives them almost an access. And some people say it soothes them, but I don't think it's so much soothing as it is. It kind of just strips away whatever cloud is in the way of bringing mental focus. Whatever. Music is a universal language, but regardless of how music is, the skill involved here placed David in the right place at the right time. That is where we come to this point. If you have a certain skill, it will bring you to the right place. And what's the scripture in Proverbs here? It's what, Proverbs 29?
Proverbs 22 and 29.
And it says,
Seest thou a man diligent in his business, that he shall stand before kings, that he shall not stand before mean men.
Okay, so what that means is he's a man diligent in his business. He means he has been passionate about some subject, whether it be music, whether it be engineering, whether it be, it could be a million things. It could be tech. It could be the medical field. It could be anything, literally anything that a person has been diligent in seeking and understanding. And you will find that information that you have spent time by yourself in passion, desiring to know something about something, brings you before the people you would never be able to come around otherwise.
Right.
And it's because you've been qualified by your skills, from your passions being displayed in a private time. And it kind of like the bank of your spirit has received the information and the experience to do a certain task. And for David, it was he had been out in the field playing his harp, learning how to play this harp. And no, he didn't get there. He didn't get to the king's house whenever he was there He didn't get there because he just learned how to play the harp. He got there because he was a cunning player of the harp. He was so skilled. He was a virtuoso, or whatever you call him. What they call those? Prodigy. He was a young man who was so far beyond his own capacity. He was a skilled harpist.
Do you think he got so good at it because everyone else he played for said he was bad?
That's bad. Okay, whatever. The point is, yeah, he probably did have some rejection in his life. I mean, he was sleeping out there with the sheep for some odd reason. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. So, yeah, he probably had some rejection. But he was not good the first day he picked up a harp.
Right.
And neither will you be good the first day you start something. And I find that, and that's a lot with where people have no patience nowadays. Mm-hmm. The very first time you attempt to try something, you're good with it. Okay, I'm going to try this. Whether it be painting or music of some kind, whether you want to play the piano or some other instrument, and you want to learn how to do something. Or some people say, well, I'm going to learn how to do sign language this year, or I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to speak Spanish, German. And what happens is usually like January 1, they say we're going to make a resolution. I'm going to learn Spanish this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn Japanese. I'm going to learn how to speak a different language, and they try to do something. I mean, I did this one time. I tried to learn Spanish, tried to teach myself Spanish, and I did okay for a few days, and I quit.
Yeah. I'd say if that's one of the things, if God ain't in it, not that he don't want you to learn it, but if it's not something that, if he's not in it, you're not going to prosper in it.
Because it's the part of the human spirit as well as God's spirit, because your passion combined with God's purpose and plan for your life will always knit together what you were meant to do.
Right.
And that's key for what we're skilled in. We're not going to be skilled in something we're not passionate about. We may be skilled in something we're good at, but you're never going to have the ability to do exceedingly above the diligent work that it takes for you to do this. You're going to give up at some point. And I think a lot of people who have majored in things in college that really weren't their passion, and it ended up they really didn't even get to do what they majored in or anything, and it ended up that I didn't need that anyway. And there are some people that they're intentional and they understand what their passion is, they understand what their purpose is, and they end up being very skilled in what they have passions for. That's great. But the thing I'm trying to say is you're not going to be passionate in something that God's intention for you is. You're not going to be skilled in something that you're not passionate about, because it goes hand in hand. You're going to have a desire to learn something, to do something, to gain knowledge about this. If you are a welder and you just, I know how to weld. Well, that might be okay for a little while, but at some point you're going to fizzle out.
Right.
Unless you have a passion for that welding. And then you're going to excel. And so many people, they see a person, they have a certain talent or ability, and they're jealous of that certain talent or ability, and they say, oh, they were just born doing that. Mm-hmm. Well, they may have been born with a certain knack or a certain ability or a gifting or even like a tendency in their life, but they weren't born that good.
Right.
They weren't born that good. You weren't there every day that they were messing up and making messes and doing things wrong. You weren't born that good. You may be born with a tendency or a leaning toward a certain subject or skill, but you're not going to be born good at something.
Right.
There is a process. Just like God does not allow us to be born with the ability to get in a car and drive it.
Right.
There is a process of growth and learning and certain stretching and
Every professional started out as a novice at one point or another.
and I've even heard this. Okay, an amateur is someone who strives to be professional.
Right.
You know, they are.
Right.
They're constantly learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard professional guitar players say, "I want to remain an amateur because if I'm an amateur in my own mind,
Right.
I'll be a professional." So that's where I'm like, okay, you're constantly in a learning
Right.
strain. We're looking to gain more knowledge about what we're doing.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it looks all good. It's like, oh, they just have that. They can just do that. Or you look at people that can build things, and you say, oh, they can just do whatever they want to, can't they?
Right.
But you didn't see that ugly birdhouse they built when they were 12. or that little wagon that they pulled around that was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't think about the beginnings, the genesis. That's one thing about like a superhero story. You talk about these
Yeah.
Marvel movies and things. All of these heroes have origins.
Yeah.
And they had this little pathetic moment when they're a pathetic little person. They're like me and you, and they've kind of done us a disservice because they make everyone feel like, oh, we're just all normal. So that's so they start out the pathetic looking person, and then some supernatural thing happens. They fall into a vat, or they get struck by lightning, or somebody injects them with a serum, or they drink something poisonous and it doesn't kill them, or something crazy, gamma rays, whatever it is. And then they become this great, mighty superhero that knows exactly what they're supposed to do because, they're a hero.
Right.
And I think that's a warped vision because, number one, you're not pathetic without super abilities. You're not. You are a potential professional. That we're all potential professionals. We're just not professional at the moment.
I think a good example of that is like we play disc golf.
Yeah.
So like we like to go out I feel like last year was a lot more often than it is.
Yeah,
We're a little
definitely.
busy this year.
Yeah.
But we'll go out and play, and we're not the best or anything. I wouldn't even say borderline good, but like our friend Cody, he's really good at it, and he's played it for years and years and years, and he's really good at it.
Right. And he has put in the time. So like Cody, he spent time playing when no one else was there.
Right.
And that's made him as good as he is.
Right.
And even he will tell you he wants to be better. He could be better. And that is a mark of a potential professional.
Right.
And that goes to show you, like anything, that you can get better at something if you have passion for it. Now, me, disc golf, I don't have the passion for it. I like to play.
Right.
It's fun. But I don't have the passion for it. I like to play. Like, okay, you're going to get good at what you're willing to pursue. And you'll never pursue what you don't have a passion for. And what you don't have the belief that, okay, I can get good at this. You got to see that light at the end of the tunnel. You got to make small goals for yourself. But we can show you that we're not the best, but we have fun doing it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to what we like to do when we're not working, eating, sleeping, or having church. Disc golf.
I like it. I did. I like the way it landed better than the other one. So long. Dude. It did over there. Third one took. professional. We're not
Not
professional
by
at all.
far. Not even close professional.
But if we become passionate to the point where, okay, we have the skills.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that with a lot of things. You know, there's fishing, hunting, sports, whatever trade of work you're doing, you can do that. Disc golf is kind of interesting. You have something that's been around for a little over 50 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Was introduced in the 70s. And it's grown from being just some frisbees being thrown around in a field to now there's professional tournaments all over the country and the world. And people, there are professional disc golfers who every weekend are out there playing, and they are in the bad weather, good weather, whatever. They are doing it.
Yeah.
Now, for your average person who's just, casual, maybe like me, you might show up once a month or less. But that does not mean, okay, you don't have some skill. That just means, okay, you're not going to have the ability someone else can.
Right.
So you can see that, you can have fun with something, you can do good at something, but it doesn't have to mean, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Even if you don't have a passion for something, you can be halfway, you can put effort in, right? They used to give A for effort. But if you put the effort in, I find some people with their walk with God is like this too. They view their ability to meet the goals that they set for themselves as like, okay, I'm not going to be as good as somebody else because, I've not had this. And they put all the priorities of people who's been maybe living for God for 30, 40 years upon someone who's been in it for months or even a few years. And they say, well, I'm never going to be as close to God because I'm not them.
Right.
Or I don't have the prayer life that they have because I'm not them. It just comes natural to them.
Right.
Well, it didn't come natural to them.
They didn't see what those people had to go through to get to that.
No. And for all of us, and I think that's the grand delusion of people who are outside the church looking in, that you think we all, at least some of you, think that we have okay, we're Mr. and Mrs. Perfect. We have perfect families. Mm-hmm. We have perfect lives. Everything just falls into place for us, and we don't know nothing about trouble or problems. And that's simply not true. We probably know more about trouble and more about problems than some other people because you deal with certain things you have to overcome. But that doesn't mean that you can't be good. You can't have a prayer life. You can't have a good family. It just means you're going to have to get passionate about living for God. You're going to have to get passionate about having a healthy family. You're going to have to get passionate about your walk with God. You're going to have to get passionate about that. But you won't have the skills required if you're never out there in the field with the sheep,
right,
plucking around on the harp strings. And it may be bad, but you're going to have to put that time in. And don't get in a hurry, see?
Right.
So many times, even with like disc golf, like you get frustrated because you're hitting trees and you're throwing them like I do, and they go flopping, and it don't look good, because then you see like, okay, there's Cody, and he goes, it's beautiful, and just kind of soars across.
It's because he's put in the
time.
Put in the time for it. Yeah.
He's putting the time. And it's a beautiful thing when you see somebody do something well, efficiently. Like Seth here, I see him do stuff, and he'll be able to fix something just like that. And I'll be like, I'll break it again is what I'll do. I'll break it again. Even my little brothers, they like build Legos, and they'll build these great big things, big sets. And then I'll go up to them, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And it'll just crumble in my hand. And it'll just be like, because you know why? I don't have those skills. My skills are not those skills. I'll go play with my puppets. pathetic. It's bad. Okay, whatever. But we may not be the best at our skills, but we're going to get better because we're passionate.
We're always learning.
We're going to learn more.
Yeah.
And like we're trying to do good with our podcast here, and we appreciate everyone who supports us and tells us, "Hey, enjoying the podcast," because that helps us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, yeah, that's the goal, just to be heard. It doesn't really mean you have to enjoy it; just you hear us. So we're trying to get good, but we thank God that He has helped us to learn what we have learned, and it's because we have a passion for it.
Right.
And we have a desire for it. Now, when you're small, you have a passion for things that you may not know. That's why little boys, little girls, they will play pretend, imagination.
Yeah.
And they will say, okay, I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to be a policeman or a doctor or a nurse. They have a passion to do something or to be something that they might not be at the moment, but you know what? When I grow up, that's what I want to be. And that's a phrase that you say. Well, when you get older, we probably should say that still, because the goal does not happen. Once you grow up, when I grow up, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. And so you grow up and you don't have all those skills.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Just keep on going. We got to continue to learn and continue to grow in our talents, abilities, giftings, and passions. And we can't let it down. It's God's will that we prosper, be in health as our soul prospers. How does our soul prosper? Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotion. And that includes your skills. Your skills will come to you based upon your passions, your desires. What are you doing? There's so many people trying to they just want to get good overnight. You're not going to get good overnight.
Right.
With certain things. And I've been playing music since I was 8 years old, and I didn't get to where I'm at overnight. It sounded pretty bad for a little bit.
Right. But see, God gave you the gift to hear the notes and the patience to sit down and pluck out a guitar for hours on end.
Yeah.
And then you've obtained the skill over the years to play the way you can. God didn't give me that gift. He didn't give me the patience to sit down and play. I can't do that. I can't hear the tunes, but He has.
Yeah. But then you've got the ability to somehow you get on these tech things and you can figure something out. Mm-hmm. And like, it's basically like he can send an email and I can't, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, he knows what he's doing. I don't. But I didn't get that. But
it's taken a lot of practice to get that, and a lot of research and YouTube videos and different stuff like that.
And that's it. Because you want to learn something. Because if whatever you want to learn, you're going to try and figure it out.
Yeah.
YouTube's a big help in that. It's like, okay, how do you, whatever. And there will be somebody on there, and they'll be teaching a skill.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse nowadays to not know how to try to find out how to do something. People say, well, my dad wasn't there, or I don't have this to tell me. My mother wasn't there to teach me how to. You can find everything you need to now. Look, all the information. Mm-hmm. We understand, there's different kind of relationships you should have, but the information that you need to try at least to get good at something is out there. Mm-hmm. Whatever your desire is, whatever your passion is at, you can get good at it. We can get better at disc golf if we'll apply ourselves, and we'll do that. But whatever. This has been good. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, as we progress, we go back and we look at our old videos. We go back and listen to our old podcast, which is now, what now? Where are we at? What episode
I think we're at like 34, 35. 34. I'm not sure.
We've been doing this once a week since November.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Since Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving of 23 will be 1 year.
Yeah.
And we've already grown so much. Mm-hmm. Maybe not in audience, but in quality. And I think that is, we're in the teaching zone right now. So, and I'm not saying this boastfully, but we've not even showed you what we can do just yet. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to figure this out. We're just trying to find our our sea legs, trying to find our way to stand in this media,
Yeah.
in this sort of means of communication. It's like anything. You got to play with it. You got to figure it out. You got to learn how to. You got to make mistakes with it. You got to go record whole podcasts and find out they don't have the audio on them. Nobody does that though, do they?
No.
Anyway, this has been good. But Seth, do you have anything to finish this up with?
Well, I'll go back. Okay, so people saying grow up, be this here, grow up, be that.
Yeah.
Well, as you grow up, you're learning.
Yeah.
So once you grow up, in that time of growing, you have learned the skills to be this.
Yeah.
So once you grow up, you can be this, but there's a time there you got to learn.
That's it. It's a process. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I told you, Seth, he dropped us a good one. And with that being said, Jed, you have anything else?
Every good and perfect gift comes from above.
Yep. And we continue to learn gifts in our brothers and sisters. That's another thing. Recognize the gifts in others far before you recognize them in yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're constantly looking for you probably won't find what you need to find. But if you look at the talents, abilities, and giftings in other people, like I look into my family here, and I can see, and we all have different talents and abilities. We're not alike. If we were all alike, we wouldn't be us.
Right.
And that's fine. You have a special ability. You have a special gift that God has placed within you that you can be good at, that you can progress yourself, your life, and you can become better at what you do, whatever it may be. So with that being said, we hope that you've enjoyed this week, and stay with us. We're going to get better, and we'll see you a little further down the road.
Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you like to watch us, you can find us on The Road Home on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You can check us out on Instagram at the roadhome_podcast. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at the roadhomepodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you.